Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Week 2 of Simpson Sports Network. Connor Sutton, joined as always by Bryce Ritchie. Head women's basketball coach Derrick Pringle Jr. will be joining us shortly. Bryce, let's get right into it. A lot of good stuff today. I want to start with something that has been bothering me quite a bit lately, is the NBA Summer League.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Kings fan. This, I promise you, this has nothing to do with my argument, is I've seen way too many media members and fans going way too overboard on these Summer League games. And I have to remind people that they do not matter. I don't care that Lonzo Ball has a triple-double in his first game. That doesn't matter to me because it is not real competition. He's playing against guys who are going to play overseas, who are going to play in the D-League. Not that those guys aren't great players, but they're not NBA caliber players. And I don't like how people are comparing these games to college games. They're completely different. Worse defense. Offenses aren't near as good because guys haven't played together long enough. So if you compare this to a college game, college games, scouting-wise, are way more valuable, and you've seen more from guys like Lonzo Ball, De'Aaron Fox, Markelle Fultz. So I don't understand why everyone is so hyped about Summer League, and I get it. The NBA is doing a great job of hyping it, but at the same time, you have to be realistic and understand, hey, we lost 3 games in the Summer League. Does it really matter? I'm telling you right now, the answer is no.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's like baseball and spring training. No one really cares. You're not seeing full squads.
It's not. It's worse than spring training.
You're not there is no real value to these games. And to be honest, the NBA really hasn't been marketing these games. It's all been the Ball family. They're the only reason Summer League is getting any hype at all. But like you said, they aren't even college games. College games are taken way more seriously. You see guys playing all out on both ends of the floor, not, just allowing guys to drive right by them. We see guys, taking off from half court, 2 dribbles, 2 steps, and a dunk without anyone even stepping in.
It's turned into a glorified AAU tournament.
It really is.
What it has. Yeah. Nobody's playing any defense. It's all about athleticism and offense, very little shooting. It just bothers me because people are so excited about what they're seeing, and you have to kind of take a step back. And we're so reactive in this world, especially in sports. You have to realize that, hey, these games, however fun they might be to watch, they're, in a sense, fake. Like, you can't get real reactions and skills out of them because you can't tell because of who the teams are playing.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's playing. I mean, Lonzo Ball sat out against the Kings the other night. And to me, when you sit out a Summer League game, I was very, just confused by what the Lakers are doing. That just proves right there that they think he's going to be unbelievable if he's sitting out Summer League games. And the way the NBA has promoted Summer League games is kind of how the MLB does spring training, where you can go and watch 4 games in a day for $30. And I think the NBA is doing a great job with making that a big atmosphere. Because 2 to 3 years ago, granted, this is a big draft class, so it
really is. I think that's a big part of it.
It's got a lot more hype.
Came out.
Exactly, but I just don't understand why people in the media even are falling for this, mystical reasons why these players are playing so well. It's because they're not playing as good a competition.
Well, I think the media it's all just a stunt. They react to it big. People tune in. People are going to start watching, follow them on Twitter, whatever it is. They get more views from it. That's really all it is. They say big things make big reactions off of things that really don't matter. That's their game. That's their gig. It's what they're there to do, and it's how they make money. But yeah, it really is just a waste of time, and it's sad to see because your young guys or your guys who aren't getting as many touches or might not even make your team might end up in the D League. It's sad to see that you aren't getting real value out of these games because it would be a really good chance for these teams to get good touches, to find chemistry as a group, get in games that don't matter.
Gain confidence.
Yeah, especially new guys. I'm going up against, a guy who played in the league last year or, anything like that.
Right.
And you could see real value from these games, but they're look to be an offensive highlight reel.
Right, and it seems like guys are just trying to get on SportsCenter top 10, and, that just kind of doesn't make the game as fun to watch.
I agree.
Kind of moving on, we kind of touched on this a little bit in our last show. That we were going to talk about this, and it's an argument that you and I have had for a while.
Yeah.
The whole LeBron versus Jordan topic.
Yeah.
And it's a topic that this summer has been huge. Obviously, a little bit more when LeBron
wins.
When he wins, right? Yeah, if he'd have won the finals, I'm sure it would be even more talked about. Even now, we've seen it die down ever since he lost to Steph Curry, which I think, and the Warriors, which is the greatest team in the history of NBA basketball, in my opinion.
Okay.
However, I'm sure you have. I know it is, but I'm sure that you have something you want to start with, so I figured I'd let you go first, and I'll kind of bounce off you.
Yeah, well, it's tough. LeBron is a great player. He's obviously top 5, I think, no question. You have other great players, but even just comparing the two is tough because the game is so different. And you and I will touch on that in a little bit. The game has, it's kind of morphed, maybe mainly devolved from what it was originally with 5 set positions. And LeBron and MJ are just so different. They're different types of players. And the media touched on this a little bit, how LeBron plays more like Magic. He looks to facilitate rather than score first, where MJ, he was going to beat you by scoring on you. And that was his game.
I mean, teams would come into games against MJ saying, okay, we're not going to let anyone else score but MJ, and they would still get beat.
Yeah. And I think that's why he's the greatest player of all time, is because he could beat teams by himself. I don't think LeBron can do that. Or we just haven't seen LeBron do that. And just stats-wise, we see more from MJ. And again, it's partially because he was a different type of player. But honestly, I think it was because he was a better player. He elevated his team. Teams would have to focus in on him, and it would allow his other teammates to do more. I mean, 6 Finals MVP, 14 times All-Star, although the All-Star it doesn't really matter. But 5 times MVP. He averaged 30.1 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and that's even with his 3 years with the Wizards, which I don't know that we should really count those, but
we have to count.
Yeah, we do.
We're going to count them at the end of LeBron's career. Yeah. We're going to count them at the end.
But the thing that stands out to me, and I think the things that people overlook, is the fact that Michael Jordan was 9 times named to the defensive all-first team. And I think that's that's one of the big things people talk about with LeBron is the chase down block. Not just the one against Andre Iguodala back in 2016, but that's been his signature defensive move. He comes off from the far side of the court. He's, athletic as anybody else, gets up and just goes off the backboard. But we don't see him, named to these first teams for one-on-one defense. But MJ was there. And I think that shows how much more of a round player he was. And now the argument to that is, LeBron can guard all 5 positions. No, he can't. He cannot. Not even close. Any quick guard in the league would go around him. We saw the Joker, his name escapes me right now, for the Nuggets last year. Nikola
Jokic.
Thank you. Jokic. He absolutely destroyed LeBron in the paint. There are clips, there were memes made out of the fact he took LeBron from 6 feet outside the paint, backed him down under the hoop, spun, baby hook, bucket, easy. And LeBron was talking all this trash this year about how only Jesus and Kobe Bryant could score on him in the post. Well, that's just not true. We saw that last year. You got manhandled, dude. So, if there were true centers still, he wouldn't be able to guard them. Quick point guards, he can't guard those either. So I don't agree with that.
Okay, so let me kind of address the whole defensive, first team. My issue is, with what you just said, is LeBron would be on 9 all defensive first teams. But the problem is when he left Cleveland for Miami, a lot of fans, not only fans, a lot of media members were pissed off by the way that he did that, and they stopped voting for him for the MVP. It was one of the reasons why we saw his votes decline. And I think that even this year, he should have been in the top 3. The fact that he wasn't, I know James Harden had a great year, I know Westbrook had a great year, and I know Kawhi Leonard had a great year. But LeBron James, every single year, is the MVP, because if you took him off of his team with Irving and Kevin Love, they would be maybe a 6th seed in the East.
No, see, it's not about removing it. It's about who you would replace him with, though.
Okay, let's talk about it. The one year that Michael Jordan left, what did the Bulls do?
I think they were only 2 games back. 2 games off of what their
record was. They weren't that much worse.
No.
They weren't. And my thing is that the media is so negative of LeBron, not as much anymore, but previously so negative of him that he hasn't gotten as many accolades because of that. Now, addressing the whole he can guard 5-man thing, I agree with you on that. However, he is the most versatile defender in the history of the game. That's what I think is what transponds him above Michael Jordan in the defensive end, because he can help side and be a force at the rim, so he can be that rim protector.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan can't do that. Now I know height comes into play in a factor of that, but Jordan was not near the athlete, in my opinion, LeBron is.
Oh no, he's arguably one of the greatest athletes.
And I think, and that's kind of the next argument we'll get into, is because LeBron, nowadays there's better nutrition, better sports medicine, better training, better physical abilities you can have as an athlete now.
Yeah.
And LeBron has he's allowed to have, because he's in this new era where Jordan had to kind of go through the older stuff where, I've heard stories of Jordan and Chuck Daly never sleeping during the 92 Dream Team.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of the guy that Jordan was. I think Jordan is the greatest offensive player of all time. Yes. However, because because LeBron James can do more on the defensive end, I think it kind of just lifts him just a little bit up there. And I know that championships is what we 100%, grade this on. I understand that. Yeah, we grade this on championships. However, I just don't think LeBron has played with the type of players, or Michael Jordan didn't play against the type of players that LeBron has played against, especially in the finals.
In the finals, I agree. But leading up to the finals, he was playing good teams. The East was stacked when he was playing.
No, to name the stacked teams.
Okay.
Pacers never won a championship. Knicks never won a championship.
Celtics, Pistons, he beat the Lakers.
It was at the end of the Celtics.
Yep.
After Bird.
We talked about
Pistons were at the end of their
Knicks,
run.
The Suns, the Magic. The Heat and the Pacers weren't that great. He didn't face them until later in his career. But you're talking about those 5 teams: Celtics, Pistons, Knicks.
LeBron
Magic.
James beat the best team.
In your opinion?
No. I'm not talking about my opinion. I'm talking about record-wise. Best team ever.
Yeah.
If you just talk about record. They were down 3-1. He brought that team back. I think they would have won the championship if Draymond Green hadn't got hurt. The Warriors would have. However,
or if he hadn't gotten
that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Yeah, but my point is that this old versus new, this LeBron versus Jordan conversation that we could constantly have, it has more to do with what has changed in basketball.
Yeah, I agree.
And part of it is because there are positionless players in basketball who are successful because basically you can run, you can jump, you can shoot, you can dribble, and you can play defense. You're going to be on the floor.
Yeah, if you're a flex player.
Right, and that's why we've seen the center kind of decrease in the NBA.
Even the power forward is falling away. I mean Tim Duncan, Zach Randolph,
Kevin Garnett. I mean, we used to see the 2 and the 4 used to be the best position in basketball. With Kobe Bryant, McGrady, Garnett, Duncan, as you mentioned. And we've kind of seen it transfer pretty much solely to the point guard position, and I guess you could say LeBron at the small forward, Durant at the small forward, but all those guys can handle the balls like guards.
Yeah, easily.
So it's turned into this spacing style of play, and I even think assists nowadays, that you saw Russell Westbrook average a triple-double, who cares? Because there's so many more shots taken, the ball's flying so much faster up and down the floor, the floor is so much more spread, there's more threes being taken, that elevates assist numbers. So I think that the triple-double, however impressive it may be, and it is impressive, it's not as impressive as it would be 20 to 30 years ago. And that's my main issue with this whole evolution of basketball. There's more shooting, there's more fast break, there's more fast-paced basketball in general, and it's getting harder and harder to play defense.
I agree, because the players are just so much more explosive. You're seeing, half the time on fast breaks, guys just give up. Like, who wants to get posterized and dunked on, made a meme out of,
Well, here's my thing about that. I would rather, I don't know, I've been dunked on in my life, but I would rather try and be put on a poster because that one time I get that dunk, or get that block, number 1 on SportsCenter, right?
But, okay, yes, but it's like in the All-Star game last year, Steph almost got dunked on twice by Giannis. He
laid down.
He will never have any chance of blocking Giannis. Yeah. And the NBA won't call a charge on that. They'll call, if anything, they'll call a block.
Well, so DeAndre Jordan ended Brandon Knight's career on that alley-oop dunk. We haven't seen from Brandon Knight since, realistically. So I get that, but at the same time, if you do get that one block, it can be a game changer because the biggest game changers in basketball is the offensive foul, blocks, and threes. And ones. Those are the 4 biggest momentum changes in basketball. And if you get one, it can be, especially at the end of the game, we saw it in Game 6 against Iguodala. Was it Game 6 or Game 7? I think it was 6.
7.
It was Game 7?
It was Game 7. They blocked, came down.
Yeah. Huge momentum shift. And I believe that's why that you got to go for it. Even if you're risking putting it on poster.
I agree, but that's LeBron blocking on.
No, I understand that. But also, I'm okay with getting embarrassed with him. We'll talk about that later with a really cool bet we got coming up with. Overall, I think that it's an impossible argument between Michael Jordan and LeBron James because they're in different eras. If they were in the same era, we could have a possibility because they would play against each other.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't really get to see LeBron play against Kobe Bryant very much.
No, he was on his way out by the time LeBron really hit his peak.
And so that's unfortunate. But especially in the finals, we never really get to see them play. The only time it was, I think it was against Kobe's last All-Star game, was a little one-on-one action.
Yeah, they went off.
That was fun to watch. But it's just so tough. And Jordan obviously is the GOAT, but I think LeBron is getting there because of his ability to stay consistent in every facet of the game, and he's slowly getting better, especially at shooting, because he's not a very good outside shooter, but he's getting a lot better.
Yeah.
And will be interesting to see if the Celtics can counteract Kevin Durant. LeBron James needs someone who can guard Kevin Durant so LeBron can take a rest because he's doing a lot of the work on offense.
Honestly, and I agree. If LeBron can continue to improve, we might have a more stable argument to him being the greatest of all time. But to me, it's getting less and less likely that he wins another championship. Honestly, at this point, with the way the league is set up, I don't see it happening again. The 2 years ago, they absolutely blew through the finals. Last year, a little bit more difficult. I think that's just going to keep happening. And the thing about the Warriors is, like you said, there's an argument that they're better than any team ever, and they're getting better too. Like he's at the point where.
But how long can this Warriors team stay together?
Well, if you see guys like Kevin Durant taking
but Kevin
$10
Durant,
million pay cuts,
but Kevin Durant already got his money. Guys like Klay Thompson and Draymond Green haven't really gotten their money. We could see Klay Thompson take off.
No, but Klay Thompson earlier was in an interview, and how he mentioned how he wants to stay with this group. How while it's getting paid is important, it's not as important as winning championships or just keeping the group together. So. And to me, what makes the Warriors great, yes, they have these four amazing players. These four guys that better than any other four on any other team. But the fact that the Warriors have found pieces off of that. JaVale McGee was a laughingstock coming into last season. But we saw him be a great contributing piece of this offense. He did exactly what they needed him to. And they keep finding these guys who everyone says,
Sean Livingston.
Yeah, Sean Livingston. Even Iguodala coming off the bench just for defense is a great example of their depth and why they're the greatest team.
I mean, guys are going there now. Nick Young going to the Warriors. Basically, guys are going there to revitalize their career.
Well, I think what they are is the Warriors are recruiting for a specific purpose. We want another shooter who's on the market. All right, let's go get it. They could have brought back Barbosa. They could have brought back Monte Ellis. But they didn't go with either of them.
Yeah.
They went with another shooter.
They went to the guy who doesn't put tattoos on his right arm because it's strictly
Well, he didn't. He now
buckets.
does. But yes.
Anyway, we got to take a break. Derrick Pringle will be coming on and visiting here when we come back. This is Simpson Sports Network. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Head women's basketball coach Derrick Pringle now joining me. And Derrick, appreciate you coming on the show. Early on in the first segment, I discussed the NBA Summer League and how I thought that media members and fans are so overwhelmed with the fact that everything that happens in Summer League is a direct example of what's going to happen in the regular season of the NBA. And what I'm trying to say is it's just a glorified AAU.
Yeah.
Do I have an argument to make that? Do I have an argument to make that to where, players may be playing well in the Summer League, but that doesn't matter when it comes to the regular season?
It really doesn't, because a lot of the players that are playing Summer League are either rookies,
right,
guys that played overseas trying to get a contract, guys that were cut last year trying to make a team. So it's more of a glorified AAU.
And really, if you're talking about a scouting perspective, you could say that college games are a better testament to scout players because of how they are playing. Better defenses. Right. I mean, guys just got to training camp and are only played with each other for a little bit. So to me, it doesn't seem like there's any reason why media members and why fans should be over-exaggerating these games and trying to show them as that they're prime examples of Lonzo Ball who had a triple-double. Right. He's going to be the man. You have no idea. It's so early. You're not playing against good competition or as good competition. So to me, it doesn't make any sense to why media members and fans are overreacting to these positive or negative games.
That's been happening for a while, though, with even AAU basketball being the main source of that.
Right.
A lot of hype over players and things like that. But I think Summer League is good, though, in the sense for teams and GMs to see what kind of players can do at that level. But the college game is better because it's more structured and better talent, too, overall.
What's your opinion of AAU in general?
I'd be smart about this. I like it, but I don't like it.
Right.
I like it because as a coach, I could travel and be in one location and watch 20 teams, 100 teams, whatever. But overall game, they're not learning the game of basketball, how to play help defense, how to play man-to-man defense, those kind of things.
So is AAU more of offensive style and a lot of one-on-one,
Yes.
and it refines individual skills rather than team skills?
Yes.
So would you say that passing is one of those things that gets kind of left behind, or team defense helps that, like you mentioned, those are the main things that are kind of lacking in AAU?
Yeah, I agree. I think passing is huge because a lot of kids trying to get the scholarship, so they're going one-on-one a lot. Defense is, probably for me, I'm a defensive coach. It's very frustrating because kids don't know how to play help defense at all, or getting good defensive stance. It's all about offense, what you can do to score the basketball.
So you think that they work on their team defense more when they get to high school later on, and that's when the team defense really becomes into play?
I mean, the great high school programs teach defense. A lot of kids will learn that there, but they won't learn it at AAU.
Well, I want to get into recruiting a little bit because I just think recruiting's fascinating. A lot of times as fans, as media members, we see the recruiting side of things from a player's perspective, but we don't see it very often from a coach's perspective. So kind of take me through your recruiting process as a coach.
For me, obviously, it's trying to been 10 years now, I'm trying to limit my recruiting assortment, play out recruiting. I can't see everybody play. So we'll get our top 20 kids and try to narrow down, okay, who can we get? Who wants to come to Simpson? And then we look at character, number one. Are they a good person? Are they listen to the parents, listen to the coaches? Second thing is skill. Can they play? Or are they in a point where they're athletic but can be teachable, are teachable to learn the game of basketball? And third thing, do they fit Simpson? So it's kind of, for us, kind of the three things we look at. As a college coach, I mean, it's important to find team players. You can find great athletes, but it doesn't mean that they're going to transform on the court.
So when you look at players, is there any things that sometimes you'll see a red flag that you're like, that's probably not a player we should keep recruiting, or that kind of ends recruiting overall?
Attitude. I mean, if a kid misses 2 shots and they're yelling at their teammate or make a bad play, instead of saying, my fault, well, it's your fault, that's a red flag for me.
So another question that I'm very curious of is because I feel like recruiting has probably changed so much in your 10 years. And has recruiting changed so much that now most of your contact with recruits is over texting?
Texting, yes.
So how has that changed?
I don't say it's really changed because I'm a young coach, got hired on. I would text a lot to recruits, but talking on the phone is very rare. Either you see them in person or you're texting like 90% of the time.
Do you think that kind of takes away some of your because really there's very little things that happen communication-wise over text other than just the words, so it's hard to see how someone's attitude is, or is that why I think you mentioned that you want to see the person play in person and meet with him in person before you sign them?
Yes, we'll text, we'll talk, but I want to see you on campus. I want to go to your home and see how you are, because texting, even watching highlight videos don't tell the whole truth. So
what is your best way to find recruits in general? Just AAU, is it college or high school, JC? What do you?
Well, I like to recruit freshmen. JC kid will pick up here and there, but I think I get freshmen because you can mold them better and they fit in your program. For me, it's a variety of ways. Contacts, people that I know, my sources that I have in Washington, California, Arizona, whatnot. Going to AAU tournaments and watching games, referrals, all that kind of stuff.
In your 10 years, how much has recruiting changed?
A lot. I think more so with the money that's recruiting a kid. Kids love our campus or whatnot, but it's all about money, which I kind of understand. But we won't get kids sometimes that we think fit because they won't get a full ride scholarship. So that's kind of what changed.
How much does social media impact recruiting?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, you can find a lot about kids' character on social media. Kids don't understand that, but I think every coach, if you're a good coach, you're looking on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, see what this kid's about, because you're investing into this individual.
Let's get a little bit more into your women's basketball program, kind of going away from recruiting. In your 10 years, you kind of took and kind of molded this program, and what do you think that you have changed the most, or has changed most, in your program over the last 10 years?
I think a winning and pride and having a pride in our program. When I first took over, our team's never been in the playoffs, the conference playoffs. And since I've been hired on, we missed it 1 year. So for nine years, we've been in a conference tournament. And it finished top 4 in our conference. So that's one thing we changed, is the winning mentality. And then students having pride in being a Red Hawk. That wasn't an issue. It wasn't a thing when I got here. It was, we're Simpson, we're trash. No, not anymore. We're Simpson, we want to be the best.
How have you changed as a coach in 10 years?
I'm less of a yeller. I think my first 3 or 4 years, I just yelled a lot. All about me, where now I've grown to be more about the players and relationships. So that's kind of, learning women too, kind of helped me out with that.
I want to get into your opinion of last season. You guys won 17 games, most for you as a coach, most since 2002 here at Simpson. How do you feel you guys did overall?
I think we did good for the most part. I wish we would have achieved our goal of winning the conference, but I think for our program, we did pretty well. 17 games, beat some really good teams.
Oregon Tech twice.
Yeah, which is never done before in our program. We did some really good stuff. So, I mean, I'm happy with what happened. Obviously, we wanted to win a championship, but we didn't. But for our program going forward, it's a great move.
3 starters graduated this last year: Esther Wofford, Amani Joseph, Whitney Rodriguez, and now it's kind of at a time where you're looking to fill those spots. Do you think you have players or a number of players ready to fill those roles and be main contributors in your lineup?
You have a team that can fill those roles. I mean, you can't replace Esther or Whitney or Amani. They all did things differently, and they're really good at what they did. But I think as a team, we have the pieces to do that. Fallon obviously comes up in conversation as next player to step up, which she will and she has. But I think Fallon, Shay, Lexi Thompson, Whitney Armstrong, Allison Rippingham was a senior this year. We got a group of players that can step up and play.
So how's this roster going to be different? Just going to be a little more spread out scoring-wise?
Yeah.
Or better defensively?
Better defensively up top. I think we have the personnel that really get out there defensively. Press a little more than we did last year. Offensively, be more spread out. We won't have somebody scoring 20-some points. It'd be more like 12 to 10 across the board, which is pretty fun basketball.
How do you build off a successful season like you just had?
Just now having a higher standard. So our players know that, okay, we won 17 games. That's cool, but we got to get 20 next year. And that starts off in the offseason, in the workouts, and work on your game individually.
All right, I got to kind of ask you this question. Me and Bryce talked about it a little bit earlier. Kind of this Jordan versus LeBron take. I know you're a big Bulls fan, so you're obviously a Jordan guy, but we broke it down to more talk about younger athletes versus the older school athletes and what the difference is. And my opinion is that because sports medicine and training and everything has changed so much that athletes nowadays are not only more athletic, they get more time to play in games, they get more time to practice. Do you think that nowadays athletes are not only more athletic but even a little bit more skilled than they were 10, 20 years ago?
I won't say more skilled, but I would say more athletic. They train their bodies better than they did in the past, and it's a lot stronger. I mean, LeBron James, 6'9", 270, whatever it is, and he can jump. He could run and jump, pretty crazy. So, I think just nowadays it's more training, but skill-wise, I think it's better than back in the 90s, 80s. I'm an 80s baby, so.
Derrick Pringle Jr., head women's basketball coach. Derrick, appreciate you coming on the show. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Segment 3, and now, Bryce, we just had Derrick Pringle on, and he talked about a number of different things, but we kind of didn't touch on it earlier, is the NBA has been evolving so much, but we've seen college basketball pretty much stay pretty consistent. I mean, we've seen Simpson, men's and women's basketball, really rely on a big man. Josh Brackey for the men's team, for the women's team, Whitney Rodriguez.
Yeah, she was huge.
Right, and so I think that having a big in college basketball is still probably the most important thing, especially at the NAIA level. If you have a big who can clean the glass, who can protect the rim, who can score down low with ease, you just have a leg up on everybody.
Yeah, and you mentioned it with the NBA. Point guard, obviously, especially with college basketball, you see presses, you see zone defenses, so someone who can handle the ball. But you're right after that, we really do still see the importance of a big man, especially on the defensive end.
Right.
Great, if you can go around a guy, that's fine, but a guy who's sitting 2 feet away from the hoop is going to make way higher percentage of his shots than a guy who's shooting a 12-foot jumper.
It is so difficult nowadays to keep guys in front because of the foot quickness, and the new evolution of the quickness of guys is unbelievable. I mean, the ladder drills, the number of things you can do to improve your footwork is just unbelievable, and that's what guys are doing to get so quick, and that they can be by you in a flash and at the rim, and that's why a rim protector is so important. But also shooting in college has gotten more and more important. So we've seen that the three ball has become definitely starting to get, not as much as the NBA where it's relied on, but it is definitely pretty important, and we see guys starting to really hone in on that, especially defenses closing out the shooters and leaving that middle guy inside, to be the rim protector, and then having everyone else kind of guard the shooters.
Yeah, and I think that's partially because in college, because of rule changes, 2 hands on a defender, and just I think they are calling more than they used to in terms of fouls. And with the NBA, with the 3, people are, criticize Steph Curry, but I think it's something to be said that he's changing the game, or at least helping people realize the three is a much more valuable shot. It's worth the risk than, a jumper just inside the line. Whereas, 15 years ago, step in and take a mid-range. No, the mid-range it's ineffective. Oh, I could get another point if I just step back 2 feet. Well, I'm going to do that now.
And the 3-ball and the advanced statistics have been one of the main cogs of this whole change and evolution, is where coaches realize, hey, that corner 3 is just as valuable as a mid-range jumper, like you said, if not more. So, hey, we need to have our 4s and our 5s learn how to shoot that baseline jumper from downtown so they can knock that down and get those points. Rather than stepping inside the line, because that extra point can be a factor late in the game, especially if shooting 2 feet further is pretty much the same percentage.
Yeah, plus they're further out, so less chance that the defender gets out there and put a hand. If you can get someone to penetrate and get in and then kick, you're going to have way more time to take a shot.
And you have more spacing, which means more driving lanes.
Yeah.
However, kind of moving away from basketball, something that's coming up that you and I are going to have some fun with is the Conor McGregor-Floyd Mayweather boxing match that is coming up. I know you think, I'm actually kind of a big Conor McGregor guy. He's got a great first name. He's probably the best trash talker I've ever heard.
He has a personality. He's got a great public personality. Like, he draws people.
He's a perfect promoter for himself.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so exciting, because whether he can even get close to beating Mayweather in boxing, every time he says something, he opens his mouth, I'm going to go listen to it. I'm going to go hear what he said. And it's probably going to be bleeped out about half of it, but it's still relatively interesting.
But he has every right to be. I mean, his story is amazing. Yes. He is the definition of, from rising from the ashes to, he's the second greatest pound for pound fighter right now, outside of Mayweather. And I think this fight is interesting. One, because you have 2 guys going at it who are the greatest in their
this has never been done before.
Exactly, but also because we really don't see boxing anymore. It's not a premier sport.
MMA has overtaken boxing big time, and this is going to be the first time that boxing is going to be, other than the Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather fight, which was a huge disappointment. I honestly can see this fight being a huge disappointment too.
And I think that's exactly where it's going. It's outside of McGregor's, realm. It's Mayweather is the greatest because he could beat guys who were professionals at boxing with ease. And so you're taking someone who is a great fighter, an amazing fighter, outside of his element, and putting him something he's good at, but not as good at as other boxers.
Well, I think boxing nowadays has turned into avoiding punches as much as possible, which, when people watch boxing, they want to see hits.
Yeah.
So when
it isn't a Rocky movie where people are just trading hits back.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So when we're going to watch this fight, you're going to see a lot of swings and misses, or a lot of blocked punches. And the problem with that is, because this fight is going to be so hyped by the media, or so hyped by Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor's groups, that we're going to be going in this fight thinking, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest fight in the last decade, and it's going to be a big letdown, just like the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. I do, however, think there will be a KO, but obviously you think it's going to happen a lot faster than I do.
I honestly, if Mayweather wants to, I think he'll knock McGregor out in the first round.
In the first round?
First round.
Wow. Oof,
I don't see McGregor being able to stop him. He's been talking a lot of trash about how Mayweather's slow, how he's old, but I still think he's just biding his time, and then he's letting all this build up, and he's just going to unleash when the bell hits.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about this. Let's make a little interesting wager on this.
All right.
Now, we're not going to bet money, because that's no fun.
No.
What we're going to do...
Simpson rules, so...
Right. And so I think what we're going to do is the loser of this is going to have to wear what has been now kind of famously a rompin, which is a male romper.
Gosh.
Now, I personally would probably wear one if they weren't so negatively looked upon.
Yeah.
However, so this is a little bit worse upon you. So we're betting now that we'll kind of set the rules here.
Yeah.
Okay, the loser has to we have to post a picture on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, all the same picture.
I said we're throwing one in the broadcast too.
And the broadcast. Well, the person will have to broadcast in it.
Yeah. But you can only see it from the top down here. So we should throw a screenshot out there in the broadcast.
Yes. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and whatever the other person wants to put as the caption for that. and the loser will have to face that. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good thing I've been hitting the gym because I'm a little worried about this. However, so you're saying if it goes past the first round, I win. If he goes before the first round, you win. Is that
there's 12 rounds, so
that's what I'm saying. So
let's do round 2.
So you're saying before round 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So if he gets the bell hits in the second round.
If he makes it longer in 6 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a lot of fun.
I think so.
It's gonna make it more fun to watch, and I'm gonna really enjoy seeing you in a romper. What size are you?
I don't know. I've never bought a romper before. I don't know what size romper I am.
It's gotta be. You're probably like a schmall.
Schmall?
A schmall. a medium. Yeah. Next week, Thomas Kirst will be on the show. We'll have a women's volleyball preview. A lot of good stuff there. We might even have a couple of the players on. We'll see. And we'll kind of wait to see Bryce to see his romper. This has been episode 2 of Simpson Sports Network. Thank you for joining us. Hope you have a great rest of your week.